Hey there After Effects buddies, let's take a look at making a nice animation from some vector files. Lots going on here and we'll break it into stages. So the first thing I'll do is take a look at creating the background and animating these plants. Okay, so I'll just jump over to here and I'll just reset my workspace. There we go. Okay, familiar workspace there. So first I'll take the background layer, here it is, and I'll just scale that up. I can use transform, I'll just fit to comp. There we go, we've got our blue background. Now we've got this layer, which is the sand layer. So these are just layered files from an Illustrator file. So if you save them in Illustrator with layers, they'll import with layers into After Effects. It's really useful. So I can scale this up, but just be aware that when I scale this up, you see here how these edges there are getting quite pixelated there. So one thing to be aware of with vector files is if I click this little star here, which is just next to our shy guy on the timeline, there it is, that will continuously rasterize the files and we'll get nice clean edges. Okay, so I'll just scale that back down to there we go, and just move it into place, maybe a bit bigger. Nice background. Okay, that looks fine. Alright, so I may as well, I'll lock these two so I don't accidentally move them about. Okay, next we've got these plants. Okay, so again, what we're going to do with these is use some little tricks to animate them without having to use keyframes. So let's take the blue plant. I'll drop this behind the sand, okay, and I'm going to scale this up a little more. Okay. So one really nice feature of After Effects is the ability to take a vector file and go layer and create a shape from it. Okay, we've now got a shape layer. And the great thing about this is there's more things we can do with a shape layer. So if I open the layer menu, we've got this add button here. So onto this I'm going to add wiggle paths. Okay, so now we've got the plants wiggling in the water, but that's a little too extreme for me, so I might change the size and detail perhaps down to 2 each and maybe choose the smooth setting, and that's just about enough. Just a nice little gentle shimmer in the sea. Now there's always more than one way of doing things in After Effects. So another thing I could do is with these plants and rocks, well, I want the plants to wiggle but not the rocks, of course. So I'll do the same thing. I'll go layer and I'll choose create shapes from vector layer. Okay, so here we've got, if I open up the contents, I can find quite easily which shapes, I can just turn them on and off, are the plants. Okay, so it's 7 through to 11. Okay, so I'll put those back on, and what I can do is I can even simplify things. I can group these together. Okay, so I can then call this one plants and spell it correctly, plants, and I can always group these together and call this one rocks. I don't necessarily have to do this, but it keeps it nice and clean. And then if I duplicate this layer, Command D, okay, on this one I'm going to delete the rocks, and on this one, contents, I'll delete the plants. So I've now got 2 layers with the plants behind the rocks, and that means I can affect the plants, there you go, differently without affecting the rocks. So perhaps I can take the plants and add the wave warp effect, and now there we go, maybe just make that a little smaller. Okay, now hey presto, with the minimum of fuss and effort, the plants are wiggling. Okay, now as I mentioned, there's always many ways to do things in After Effects. So one more way might be to use the puppet pin. So let's do the same with this. Let's go layer, create shapes from vector layer. Okay, and then I'm going to separate the plant from the rocks. So let's just open this up. Contents. Okay, I think it's going to be the last three. Yeah, there we go. So I'll just I'll group these together and group shapes. There we go. And then just to save time, I won't rename it. I'll just group these again, and then I'll duplicate this layer, and I will delete the top layer there from this one, and there you go, and then I'll delete the bottom layer from this one. So now our bottom layer is our plants, and I can work on these separately to the rocks without worrying about disturbing the rocks. So I'll use the puppet pin on this one. So let me put some anchor points. So here, 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 and maybe add a couple here, and the last three there. That should do it. I'll hit the U key, and then on these last ones, okay, so we've got this one. I'm going to add an expression, and I'm just going to put our good old favourite wiggle expression. So wiggle, let's try 1. So wiggle, open brackets, 1, comma, let's try 30. Let's see how that works. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'm going to right click on the word position here, just here, and then I can copy expression only. And then if I just click on the puppet pins, I can see which one. So this one, okay, I'm going to paste, put it on that. This one is there. I'm going to paste, put it on that. I might add it to these two. Let's do that one as well. Paste, and this one, paste. So here we go. There we go. So we've now got wiggly rocks, and maybe on this one I'll change the wiggle down maybe to just say 10, and the same on this one. If I press E, there we go, press E twice, shows me my expressions. So let's just take this one down to 10, so it's wiggling a bit less. Okay, so now we've got all three of these elements animated without actually doing any keyframing. We've just used 3 little After Effects techniques to do the job for us. So that's part 1, and next we'll look at using the loop animation, the loop expression, to animate the bubbles. Thanks, buddies!